Hello, everyone. Welcome to FreeWrite Friday. My name is Jessica Lynn Johnson, and I am the founder and CEO of Soaring Solo Studios. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Soaring Solo, it's a company that's dedicated to developing, directing, and producing one-person plays. And we work with people all over the globe. And I work alongside Heather Dowling, who is also an award-winning solo theater director and coach and artist herself. So let me just give you a little backstory about me and my involvement with solo theater. I've been in this field for over 20 years. I've directed and developed over 175 solo shows, and I toured with my own solo shows for over 13 years, and I sit on the advisory board with the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival, and I write a blog for NoHo Arts called Soaring Solo, which is all about solo theater. So you can find me on the NoHo Arts website as well. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and my background. I'd love to hear about you. Please say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from or where in your solo theater journey you find yourself, even if you're just curious and not quite sure if this is for you or if you're already touring the world with your solo show. I would love to say hi and hear about you. And the mission of Free Write Friday is just really an opportunity for us to take 20 minutes outside of our day to focus on solo theater and our goals and get some writing done to further our process of telling our stories on stage. Um, so with that in mind, if you're never able to be here live, I put all of the recordings on my YouTube channel. So you can look up Soaring Solo Studios on YouTube and go to my channel and watch the playbacks along with hundreds of other free content and videos on my YouTube channel in addition to Free Write Friday. So please make sure you have something nearby you to write with or write on, since obviously we're going to be writing today. And so the focus point of today that I want to look at is backstory, the backstory of our protagonist. And I'm going to give you some examples of what I mean by that with regard to solo theater. So in the show Buen Camino by Susan Edsel, which was recently part of the Encore series for solo stars over at the Zephyr Theater, Susan gives backstory at the top of the show. We learn that she doesn't consider herself woo-woo or spiritual, or she calls herself a heathen. She's in a long-term relationship with the love of her life for over 13 years. Um, what else? What else? Oh, she's very unsatisfied with her career as a novelist. So those are some things we learn about her that we find valuable as backstory, which then raises the stakes for the rest of the story. So pretty soon into the top of the show, the love of her life dies, and she gets kind of a spiritual download to go walk the Camino, 540 miles. She's 66 years old at the start of the show, and as I said, not a spiritual person, has some fairly deep religious scars and all of that, and yet felt this spiritual direction to walk the Camino. Um, and on the Camino, she discovers her purpose, to be a performer, performing artist. A lot is healed within her heart for the loss of her partner. And I tell you all of this because if we didn't have that backstory information, it's not that going on the Camino, going on that incredible walk would not be significant, but it has so much more significance when we have the backstory, when we know the inciting incident to kick off the journey, the fact that she lost the love of her life, when we know that she's not a spiritual person yet. Along the journey, she meets three spiritual guides who walk her through her life and reflections. And also, if we didn't understand that she was deeply unsatisfied with her line of work, paying off toward the end of the show what her actual life purpose is would not have nearly the same significance. Another example would be the show Redeem Her by Tatum Langdon, which is about a Mormon woman's marriage and divorce and cheating on her husband, committing adultery, which again, toward the beginning of the show, we learn a lot about her religious upbringing and her belief system, the structure of her world as a Mormon, as a devout Mormon. And so obviously there's significance anytime there's cheating or adultery or anything of that nature. But when you also bring in the spiritual realm and afterlife consequences or whatever you want to call it, the stakes are raised and we have a better understanding of what the journey is for the character of Tatum when all of this happens. So for today's purposes, I want you to think of your own life and what you're considering the story of your show might be. Like, where's the starting point or some of the content that you want to explore? And what is the backstory of your life? What do we need to know about you to really go on this journey and see the impact of the transformation of the different things that you've been through? So today might feel a little expositional as you're just writing about, maybe where you came from, socioeconomic status, anything that will help us understand who you once were, where you come from. That would be really helpful. And if you're writing a solo show that's not about you, and the protagonist is a different person, then obviously you can cater that to be that person's backstory. So I'm going to set my timer for 8 minutes, and I just want you to be writing about who you were, backstory. And don't worry about it being theatrical or sounding interesting or any of that. Right now, we're just getting a first draft on the page, thinking about backstory and who we are, where we came from. And if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat for me. And that's it. I'll see you again in 8 minutes. Little under 2 minutes left. Okay, go ahead and wrap up your writing. And one of the takeaways from today's prompt, essentially, if you want to have a show that is representative of transformation, that has a strong arc, then who you are or whoever the main character is at the beginning of the show needs to be quite different by the end of the show. We want to see an arc. We want to see transformation. That's what makes a show riveting and compelling and interesting and intriguing, rather than just sort of anecdotal and not really going anywhere. And then you feel like you wasted an hour or 90 minutes of your life. We really want to take people on a transformative journey. So backstory is so important so that we understand who you were and therefore can understand who you are and all the wonderful adventures in between that made you that person or made the heroine of the journey that person. So never underestimate the importance of backstory. It is very important. So hopefully you made some great discoveries in writing that. And always feel free to email me if you have questions or follow-up stuff from what we go over. Today I put in the chat the Soaring Solo announcements. There's always a lot going on in our community, so I'll roll through those and um, feel free to jot them down. Tomorrow is another free event. It's the art of creating the one-person play, which I've been teaching for almost 2 decades now. It's a 90-minute class, and that's an opportunity to share work that you've written outside of class if you'd like to, so long as it's solo theater. But I also provide a writing prompt in my class. So you can show up with nothing and leave with something. And that is at 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern. That is not recorded, so you got to be there to engage in it. What else? Let's see. Oh, and sign up on my website under free stuff. And if you're ever curious about working with myself or with Heather in a professional capacity, you can fill out a contact form on soaringSoloStudios.com or just pop me an email, soaringsoloartist@gmail.com, and we can talk about setting up an initial consultation to brainstorm or set some goals, answer questions, look at material you've written if you have any material written, however you want to utilize the time. And we also have small groups, intensives, power pairs, and other types of coaching. So feel free to email me if you're curious about any of that. We also produce an ongoing series called Revealed, which is a great stake to put in the ground. Revealed is a virtual reading series where a solo artist reads a work in progress draft of their solo show and gets feedback on what is and isn't working from the virtual audience. We have a robust conversation after the reading. So that's a great way for you to figure out what you want to say as a solo artist and how it's landing on your audience before you go through all the trouble of memorizing and staging and producing and all of those sorts of things. So if you're curious about Revealed, you can email me about that as well. And then my next Free Write Friday, if you enjoyed today and want to come back, is February 28th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 1 Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. And again, you can always go to my YouTube channel to watch other Free Write Fridays that you may have missed. And I also included my YouTube channel in the chat, so you can visit that and see hundreds of videos about solo theater. And also, there's always lots of festivals going on year round, and I really am a big advocate for the festival circuit, especially as solo artists. I think it's a misnomer that we should be doing this on our own. Solo theater works best in community and with support and accountability. So festivals oftentimes have that built in. Currently, my community is gearing up for the Hollywood Fringe Festival, which is happening in the month of June, which seems far away, but it'll be here before you know it. So if you're interested in the Hollywood Fringe, people come in from all over the world to participate in the Hollywood Fringe. If you're curious about that, feel free to email me or visit the Hollywood Fringe website. There's also the Binge Fringe Festival, which is going to be happening in the spring. It's already curated and all of that, and also in the fall. But that's a free festival for anybody who wants to pop into Santa Monica, California, and go see some free solo shows. And they'll be taking submissions probably again over the summer, I would guess, for the following year. So be sure to look at the Santa Monica Playhouse website and go to the Binge Fringe, meet Evelyn and Chris, who are the artistic directors, and get yourself involved. And I listed some other solo theater festivals as well, and just theater festivals. It doesn't have to be a solo theater festival, so long as they will allow solo theater participation. It's just really great to be involved in the festival circuit. And lastly, I put the link to my blog on NoHo Arts, so you can get some tips about solo theater there as well. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to pop off, but I'll keep the chat up in case you're still mingling and jotting things down. And again, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks and enjoy your weekend.